Welcome to Codex, History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta.
I'm Tyler Osby. we'll just roll with it. We're fine with it.
As we're going, I'm actually Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta. Yeah, it's exciting, though. It's an exciting day. We're talking about more Lego games. I can't believe I had so much fun with this. We'll get into it. I'm excited, but we're going to talk about 3 Lego games. All of them are in 1998. So there's Lego Loco, Lego Chess, and Lego Creator. And we're going to start with Lego Loco for no particular reason except it was my favorite, and we're going to get into it. So we got some grime facts here. It was developed by Intelligent Games. All of these games were published by Lego Media at this time. So Lego Media is pushing video games after the success of Lego Island, and that's where we're at right now. The release date for this was listed as November 11th, 1998. Here's the issue I have. I don't believe this is the date for all of them, because all of them are listed as like November 11th or December 1998. We're kind of not really sure. So I will say all of these games are released November or December of 1998. End of year.
Just dropped a bunch all at the same time.
Yeah.
It was good to be a Lego video game fan.
It was. And so the system of this is Windows. It's only Microsoft Windows 95 or 98. The best way to play it today is with PC, like in a Windows PC with compatibility mode, if you can get that to work, or a PC emulator, which is what I did. And I will explain all of that process at the end of the episode today, because we're going to kind of get into the weeds a little bit with it. It gets a little murky.
It gets dicey with 90s PC games because they don't always run very well on more modern hardware and software because they're just very old.
They are very old, and it was kind of a throwback to trying to get my Gateway 2000 computer to work when I was a kid. This gave me flashbacks, kind of in a fun way, but also sometimes in a not so fun way. And we'll talk about that. The number of copies sold for all of these games is going to be unknown. I didn't bother with VG charts because, again, like the accuracy of VG charts is kind of questionable. And I don't think with old PC games in 1998 like this, like Lego Island had it published on the box that had over 1 million copies sold. These games did not have that, to my knowledge.
Yeah. And it was enough that they didn't stop making Lego games.
Exactly. So they did well. The genre or gameplay style is going to be I'm going to call it construction and management sim, but there's no money. We'll get to that. Average time to complete the game, according to howlongtobeat.com, is 3 hours. The Metacritic score, there isn't one, but there is a very negative review I found from the Los Angeles Times in 1998 that kind of covers all of these Lego games. And it makes me wonder how Lego personally hurt the author, Aaron Curtis, because the review is brutal. Okay. Man. And so I don't know why most of these games are like well received according to like everyone else. Someone hurt Aaron Curtis, I guess is what we learned, but that's one of the reviews I found. On
the 3 hours, is that there's like a storyline in Lego Loco?
There's no story. I'm guessing this is like to see everything.
Okay, because I imagine as a kid, you're just coming back to it over and over. That's like saying, hey, I beat this Lego set in 30 minutes because that's how long it took me to put it together. It's like, but you're spending time with this, right?
Yeah, and I think How Long to Beat's metric in this sense is seeing everything in the game because it's a sandbox game. It has a little more structure than the other games we're going to talk about today, but, way less structure than Lego Chess because that's a chess game, but more structure than Lego Creator in that sense. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit. So the gameplay of Lego Loco it's a construction management sim where you build and manage your own Lego town. But unlike other city building games, Lego Loco emphasizes creativity, freeform construction, and like just kind of fun over like having resources to manage and objectives to complete. Like this game is like Lego's answer to Sim City, but
it's baby's first Sim City.
Yeah. So there is no money. There's no money in the game. It's just creativity and discovery. You can delete things, you can add things. So when I booted up the game, you get a tutorial from the station master, and the station master kind of tells you the ins and outs of the game. And then from there, you're just kind of like, here you go. And you just build stuff. And there's trains and scenery, and they interact with each other in different ways. So the one thing I noticed when I put a lake down, because this is the one thing I read online, if you put a lake down, you can put daisies next to it, and like a Loch Ness monster appears, and I saw the eyeballs pop up. So that was like a fun little like Easter egg thing to see in the game.
Oh, although I feel like a lot of these Lego games are about sort of how the like things interact with each other. Like if you click on people in Lego Island, they like spin around and like do all kinds of stuff. I can
Yeah.
imagine like a 5-year-old kid just like running around clicking on everything, having a great time.
Yeah, it's really much like experiencing the world around you is what these games are all about. And Lego Loco is like that, but you have your own town and train set essentially. And you can also just like pick up Lego minifigures and move them to different places, and they get upset if you do that sometime. Each one has a name that you can change
Hmm.
whenever you want. You can also change the name of buildings if you want and other bits of scenery and name things. So really, it's like you're building your own Lego town, and it is emphasizing that point. But the big reason, and the reason the game is called Loco, is it's about the trains, Tyler. It's all about the trains. So you can make train tracks, switches, you can make multiple train depots, you can click on the train and set the speed. This game is essentially a virtual model railroad. So if you are like me as a kid and you were super into trains, but your parents didn't want to support like a very expensive model train habit, this
They
game would be a
give you a
good
whole room to make trains in.
this would be a good solution for that. So I would say buy this game if you have a kid who's into trains. Well, now that it's the year 2024, archive.org this game is what I would say. um, uh, the game also features a cool postcard system where, and this was like the big feature, right? We're getting to the big feature of Windows 98 and the big deal. So what would happen is you would make a postcard that you could put on a train, and the train would leave your town, and it would send an email to your friend over this magical thing called the internet, and it would appear in their game world. So it was really
Wow.
like on the back end, it was just like email, but in the game, it looked like you were getting a postcard from a friend that also
That's
owns Lego
fun.
Loco. Yeah, so there is network functionality here, and obviously I didn't get to experience with how I played it, which we'll get into later. But the postcard maker is pretty cool. Like I played around with that, and you can like add stickers and writing and do all sorts of things. So there's lots of customization there, which I thought was really neat. And there are also quite a few Easter eggs for players to discover. I think that's something that kept kids playing too, like we mentioned before. But overall, the game's like super heartwarming and nice as far as gameplay goes. Like again, I don't know what was up with that LA Times author. They just had a hard time, I guess. I don't know what they were
Did,
expecting.
maybe they just like didn't understand the audience for this game, where they're like I
Yeah.
don't know what were their gripes with this.
Well, I think their gripes were about like customization. Like I think I think they were looking at it like it was going to be a SimCity kind of thing. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And it
okay.
wasn't. And I'm like, but it's clearly a kid's game. So
Yeah, go play
the
SimCity.
yeah, exactly. Like it's fine. So the plot section of this game, I'm leaving in there because this doesn't have a traditional plot, but I think the charm of this game is like emergent narratives that develop. Like if you're a kid, it's like you're playing with a train set, and because you can name all the characters and the places, you can make like a town like that you would get attached to the same way you would play with like a box of Legos at home and like make them and stuff. So I think I can see kids like playing this game in the same way that I play Lego on the floor of my living room when I was a kid. And I
Yeah,
find that like especially endearing
you
in
make
this
up your own
situation.
stories.
Yeah, you make up your own stories. It's like very much designed that way. And that was how the development of the game was. So the development of Lego Loco is pretty sparse, to be honest. I found some stuff thanks to that Bits and Bricks podcast that we'll get into, but let's briefly talk about Intelligent Games, the developers. So they were a studio in London that started making computer games in 1988. And before Lego Loco, they actually created like some Command and Conquer Red Alert games called Red Alert: The Aftermath and Red Alert Counter Strike. Not familiar
Not
with
the
other,
Counter Strike, just a
not the
different.
Counter Strike, yeah. But they also made a game based on a childhood favorite movie of mine, Waterworld. Did you watch Waterworld, Tyler?
Please, of course, I've seen Waterworld.
Yeah. Did you love Waterworld as much as
That's a
I
great
did?
movie,
It's a great movie.
and
And
it
so
was a great show at Universal Studios.
it was the
I don't think
stunt
it's there
show.
anymore. I think it's
Oh,
done
it's
now.
gone?
I think so. Well, maybe it's still around.
That would be amazing if it was still there, because that would mean it's been like 25 years of having
Yeah, let
that
me let
same.
me get
This is the important stuff
the
that people
old
want to
Google.
know.
Oh no, it's
The
still there. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So this is like a studio that made all sorts of games, but they somehow ended up making this Lego game. And that Bits and Bricks Lego podcast is really great for these because they didn't do like episodes on all the Lego games, but the big hits like Lego Island and Lego Loco they touched on. So there's some interviews with two different people that worked on the game. I believe it's Matthew Stibbe, Stibbe, or Stibbe. I'm not sure how you say it. And then D Jarvis. So Matthew Stibbe says, quote, Lego Loco had a feature where you could send little postcards and trains to other people over the internet, a sort of Lego train email system. It was super cute, but Lego people were worried that it might expose children to swearing. So they asked us to put a swearing filter in and sent us a list of swear words to block. It was a short list. And so we asked our team to come up with a longer list. In an hour over lunch, we had hundreds of words added to the list.
I wonder what that list looks like.
I know, right? So
I'm sure it's in the game files somewhere.
Oh yeah, you found it. You could probably find the list of swear words that you're not allowed to send over email. I didn't try. I should have tried to like do the, but again, I didn't have like the. I wonder if it wouldn't let you write it or if it wouldn't let you send it. I didn't check that. So one of the, this is another quote. Well, actually, this is just a paraphrasing here, but the other two things he mentions are one of the many Easter eggs in Lego Loco is that you can make the Viking statue like moon the camera. And they had a visit from a very senior Lego person during the development, and they demoed this feature and they were like really worried that the Lego person wouldn't like it, but they actually laughed really hard and it stayed in the game. So there is an Easter egg in there where the Lego Viking moons the camera, but it's like, you know, Lego legs. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of the Lego characters in Lego Loco are actually modeled after people who worked at Intelligent Games, which I think is pretty cool. So their faces are like immortalized as minifigs in the game. That's the last fact from Matthew. So from D Jarvis, quote, I designed a Lego character called Pelvis, an Elvis impersonator. Everyone liked him, but the Presley estate demanded a ludicrous fee in order to use it. I was sad that he never appeared in any of the games.
Oh, man, come on.
I know it's kind of a bummer too, but this other fact is really cool too. We created Lego voices in Loco, which was a made up language, but many people thought it was Danish. So we had to put a sticker on the box in the end to explain it and stop people phoning the office asking if it's Danish. We'll kind of talk about the legacy of this game when we get to the end. I'm going to kind of tie all of them together, but that's Lego Loco. Essentially. Do you have any questions about it, Tyler? It's very much I guess I didn't really explain what it looks like. It's a top-down map, and you can change the background on it to make like a moon. You can even have like the moon, or you can have just like grass or desert, and then you lay stuff on top of it. Kind of like a kid's play mat. Like, you know, those play mats that had like a city on it?
Yeah.
It's like that.
It looks a lot like SimCity, like the original SimCity, like straight to the top-down SimCity.
Yes, exactly. And there's a lot of different buttons. Like there's a lot of different buildings, a lot more buildings than I thought there would be, honestly, like design-wise. And the buildings do different things too when you click on them and change them and stuff. But you can also just like go into a world and press the bomb and like wipe everything out. But the cool thing is they knew, and so they put an undo button, which I was really,
new kids would be just like blowing things up all the time.
Yeah, and you can just undo it after you blow it up, which I thought was really neat. But this game is like very charming to me, and I think of the three, it's my favorite. Mostly though, the like one of the big reasons it's my favorite, and it's going to be kind of rough, is the other two games that I got working and I played them, but they had sound issues and they wouldn't stop crashing. And I'll talk about that in the end with this whole like emulation thing. But let's move on to Lego Chess. So this is developed by Chrysalis Software. Lego Media is once again the publisher. Again, November of 1998. Only on Microsoft Windows 95 and 98. The strategy, it's a strategy board game. It's chess. Okay, that's the gameplay. You're playing chess. Okay. Average time to complete, according to How Long to Beat, is 1.5 hours. There is a story mode in this.
It probably depends on how good at chess you are too.
It does, yeah. But that's like, there is a story mode with campaigns in this game. There is no Metacritic score, but let's get into it. So it's just chess. The gameplay is chess. Have you played the game chess?
Then I sure have.
You know what this is going to be like. Okay. The big thing about it are the modes. So there's a story mode where you choose either pirates or like a Western theme. And then you have a chess tournament. And the way the tournament works is there's 3 matches and the AI ramps up each time. So the first match is pretty easy, it gets a little harder, and then it gets very hard in the end. And there's a cutscene that opens each level. You play the match. If you win or lose, there's different cutscenes, and you have to win to move on to the next one. So the cutscenes are pretty silly. So the prompt of the opening pirate campaign, for example, is Captain Redbeard puts a crocodile into your hut while you're sleeping, grabs your treasure map, you wake up, and then you're playing tug of war with the crocodile through the window, and then the game starts.
Dang it, Captain Redbeard.
Classic Captain Redbeard. So that's kind of the level of narrative we're working with here, I guess I should say. So there's a story campaign for pirates, and then there's also a story campaign for Wild West. The other features are a quick match where you can just set up a game with a computer and choose the board type and all that kind of stuff. The other one is a versus mode where you can play against like a friend, or you could play against the computer and like watch the computer fight each other if you want to just watch a chess match.
Computer just go back and forth.
Which I remember as a kid doing and thinking it was really cool that you could just watch it play it out. But again, now as an adult, I'd be like, why would you? Why would you?
I used to do that in Madden, just like two computers.
Oh,
watch them, because then the camera angle. I mean, it probably depends on, I don't know when they introduced this feature, but the camera angle would change and it would just look like you were watching a football game on TV.
Oh, that's cool. Which Madden was that?
I did it in like 04 or 05. So
those are good Maddens though. I think I had Madden 04. I think Madden 04 was the last one I owned.
Yeah, I had 05, and then I had ESPN 2K5, which was the last ESPN football game, which many will still swear is the best.
Really?
Also, it was only $20 when it came out. Anyway,
what? $20?
Yeah.
Hit the button. sometimes it's a delayed tangent, and that's fine. We're okay with it. So the other fun part about this game, and kind of the reason that you would play it with this Lego theme and what makes it fun for kids, is when you capture a piece in the game, it cues a cutscene of the piece being captured, right? So, and they're very much like Looney Tunes with Lego. So the examples include, for example, in the pirate one, a character is trying to get away with a boat. So the piece that's capturing the other one pulls a cork on the ocean and drains it. Having a player like draw an X marks the spot and then the player that's getting captured is digging. And then you notice it's on a cliff face that's like really thin and they fall through, Wile E. Coyote style.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's very much stuff like that. So
the ones that I saw sort of reminded me of like, when you bowl like a strike or a spare at bowling alley and they play those like weird CG cutscenes that like.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, it remind me a lot of that, where you're just like, this is ridiculous, but pretty funny still.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. I should have put the bowling thing. It's exactly what it is. So that's pretty much the whole feel of this. When you also play the game and you beat the campaign mode, you unlock a certificate that says you beat it, because this wouldn't be a 1990s game if you didn't get a certificate. And then you can unlock other backgrounds and stuff to use in the quick play and then the versus mode. So it also saves the animations you've seen before, the capture animations and the cinematics, and puts them in a scrapbook that you can just watch for fun later. So as a kid, you can kind of like collect stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine myself as a kid like going back and just watching them all just for funsies.
Yeah, for fun, just like watching it, just like you would TV. Yeah. So the development of this game is a little bit like, I couldn't find a lot, but I did kind of I stumbled upon some gold via the wiki, the Brickopedia wiki. So Chrysalis Software is the developer behind it, and they wanted to make like a game that was both like educational and entertaining, and also not just for beginners like kids, but also like advanced chess people could play this game. And I actually found a website that is now defunct. Thank you, Wayback Machine, for helping me with this, with a production manager on the game, like the production manager's personal website, where they wrote a little tidbit about working on the game. Their name is David Upchurch, and they had a couple pieces of trivia about development that I thought was pretty interesting. So I thought we'd share that here. There was supposed to be a third castle minifig set that was planned for the third story, but that got cut due to time.
That makes sense. The menu is like castle themed, and like the king is the one who teaches you how to play chess and stuff. Interesting that that's the one they chose to cut.
Yeah, it's weird they chose to cut that, but that's what they did. And then the Lego group was super like squeamish about having minifig on minifig violence, which is why we have these Looney Tunes cutscenes. Like, according to David Upchurch, they wouldn't even let the developers have scenes where they were pointing weapons at each other. Like, you
Oh
couldn't
wow.
point a sword at another minifig. Like, no violence whatsoever,
No
which is
direct
how
violence between minifigs. It was all just like rolling boulders over them and
yeah,
making
or
them.
like or like doing like scenes where they drain the ocean and they're just like, oh no, or they like one was they dove off a boat and then they landed into the sand. Like it just silly, yeah, silly stuff like that. The other part of it is with the game, with the first run of it, if you bought it, you got the king as a Lego minifig.
I bet that thing's worth money now.
I was thinking the same thing. I didn't look it up though. I mean, I guess we could look up the king.
eBay.com. I'm looking it up right now. Lego Chess King
King.
minifig.
Yeah.
That's not him. Here we go. Lion King. No, that's not him.
I
don't
think it
even
was called the Crazy King. I should have looked it up.
Evil Chess King, Shadow like Chess King. These aren't terribly expensive. Throne Chess King. That kind of looks like
You
it.
know what? I bet you it's going to be on
Lego
the.
Chess.
I'm pulling up David Upchurch's website right now. I wonder if he's got the minifig number on here.
1999. Oh, Lego 1998 vintage throne. Here we go. That's $8 on
$8?
yeah. I wonder what the Infomaniac goes for. Infomaniac from Lego Island minifig, because I had one. I bet it's it's a little more expensive.
Here,
$29.99. Where's one for $70? Whoa.
I'm actually looking up. This is it. The Crazy Lego King 2586 is the set name. I'm looking it up on
2586, $8 on.
Oh, that's not bad with the throne.
Not with a throne, just the fig.
Just the fig.
minifig.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to my nerdy Lego website real quick. And
did the throne come with the
throne came with it, yeah.
Oh, that's probably the
so
part.
the king and the throne, if you want the whole set, is $29.99. Oh wait, that's new. They have it new and available.
I mean, does
That's
new just mean never opened?
yeah, unopened in box, $29. That's way cheaper for Lego. I'm gonna be honest, it's so much cheaper than I thought it would be because usually Lego stuff is like really expensive. But yeah, so that's the Crazy King though. You can get that set if you really want to, $29.99.
All right.
So personally, I think they succeeded in what they were trying to do with Lego chess. Like it works. It's a chess game, functional. It teaches you about chess also. But if you're trying to play like chess on PC, there's just so many better options out there. That's the problem. And
there may not have been in 97. This might have been an okay choice, especially for kids.
If for kids, yeah, because I remember in the 90s playing a computer game called Battle Chess that came out in 1992 or 1993. And that had like violent animations where like kings and knights would fight each other and they would like fall and then they would take the spot. And I played that at a friend's house on a Mac a lot. Like that was like the chess game we played quite a bit as a kid. So if you're looking for an old vintage chess game, I would recommend Battle Chess. That's my obscure recommendation of the episode.
All right. Battle Chess. 1992.
Chess. Yeah. So that's Lego Chess, but let's get into our final game of the day. And that one is a little more open-ended. It's called Lego Creator. And it was developed by Superscape. But Lego Media Group is again the publisher. This one says December 1998 for a release date. Again, these release dates are so close together that I don't know fully to believe it. But since that's just a month, it's probably just December. Windows 95 and 98, once again. The data for sold, not really there. We don't have it. It is a sandbox and a construction game. And if you look up on how long to beat Lego Creator, there is an entry and it is completely blank. There is
Yeah,
just
this one
nothing.
is very open-ended sandbox as far as
Hmm.
I know. I really wanted this game as a kid. I don't think I ever got it or played it, but I really wanted it because it was much more free-form building than Lego Island was.
Yeah, it is. It's fully freeform building, and we'll get into that because there's no Metacritic score. So let's just get into it. So Lego Creator is an entirely a sandbox game that allows players to build and interact with their own virtual Lego worlds, but the interaction part is pretty limited. We'll get to that in a second. The game offers a ton of different kinds of Lego bricks and then also pre-made sets. So a lot of city sets that you could just plop on there if you want to build a town. And you could also do pre-made buildings, vehicles, minifigures, super customizable with minifigures too. You can change them out and switch them up. There's a bunch of different scenarios too that can play out when you place the minifigures and hit the go button. They start driving along the roads and they start interacting with each other. But here comes the big bummer for me. Unlike Lego Island, you cannot drive the vehicles. So
Oh,
the vehicles, when you hit go, when you hit play, start moving around on their own, and they're only going to drive on the predetermined roads that you made, which is still cool because it's like Lego Loco in that they follow the predetermined paths, but I feel like it's not as it's not as town managey as Lego Loco is. This is just building, just a sandbox, is how I would put it. But with that said, you can customize a ton. Like Lego Creator was intended when it was developed to be a digital equivalent of playing with physical Lego sets. The idea was that this would be the video game version of Lego that they keep updating and adding stuff to, right?
mhm.
And that just didn't really happen. But I think it was kind of ahead of its time, was the issue
Yeah.
it was having.
Maybe they thought they put out like a bunch of expansion packs or something, and like every time you got a new Lego catalog, you'd be going, "I want the new
Yeah.
Lego Creator
and
expansion."
and they did put out other Lego Creator games with different themes on them, like Harry Potter and Star Wars and stuff. But I just think that this game didn't hit the mark as much as it wanted to. And personally, I think Lego Loco was a little more like had more opportunities for like emergent play because in Lego Loco, there's no cars, but you can like control the trains and tell them where to go and stuff like that while they're moving. And I feel like you
Mm,
can like change the speed of the trains in Lego Loco. And this game, it just kind of they just kind of do whatever they want when you hit the play button. If you're a diehard Lego Creator fan, by the way, and you're like, Mike, you're so wrong. Here's why. Send us an email or write us a Discord message. But I'm not even going to put a plot section in here because there's really no point to it. And I did get this to run on PCM for a bit. I got through the entire tutorial. The tutorial wizard, who is an actual wizard that explains the game, was extremely exciting, very nice, very, very informative. And then I got to the point of actually hitting play on a vehicle that I built and I watched it drive around and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Let me build something else. When I hit stop, the entire game crashed. And
I think
just
that was
stopped
a problem with this game, like just in general, like outside of emulation too. I think it was just a game that fell apart all the
and
time.
it just crashed a lot. Yeah. So and after that, I was kind of done with it. And like personally, we'll get into it. Oh, we'll wait for the legacy section, okay, and the conclusion here. But let's get into development. So, Superscape, the developer of Lego Creator, was tasked with making like taking the hands-on creative experience of playing with Lego bricks and putting it into a digital format. And in the context of the powers of technology in 1998, I think they succeeded. They did it. Like it worked. You could build stuff. It was cool if you were a kid. There's probably many adults now that have fond memories of Lego Creator, and that's awesome. And I think they did it there. They also had Lego Creator Harry Potter and Creator Knight's Kingdom. I think there was also a Star Wars one too, but you might have to double check me on that. Um, but what's weird about Superscape as a developer, they also made Alien versus Predator games, a mobile port of Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and then a mobile port of Top Spin 2. Isn't that weird?
Huh. They're just like developers for hire, mercenaries.
Yeah, pretty
They
much.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah, they just did it. And all these companies are now closed, which is kind of a bummer. Like they were mostly companies that were based in the UK and they're like over now, which I feel like there was a lot of PC developing companies in the UK in like the 90s and the 2000s that kind of have gone away. But This is kind of a golden age. This is their golden age during that time. So now let's talk about like all these games, how you would play them, and kind of the legacy they leave behind. So it's probably pretty clear from listening that I was really only into one of these games personally. Like Lego Loco was the one I was most into, mostly because the other two just didn't really work very well in how I was playing them. So we're going to start there. If you want to play any of these games, you're going to have to either find a version that will play in Windows compatibility mode, which I can tell you right now is extremely hard. Like
Yeah.
I tried multiple times before going the PCM route and I just couldn't get it to work. Even with like little cracks that people have with the archive.org files, like I still couldn't get it to work. So then I went to PCM and I watched a lot of videos, and it probably took me about 2 to 3 hours to get this all set up right.
Did you have to like install Windows in the emulator and
I
like?
had to, it was like a fresh install of Windows, and you had to get a key, and then you had to install each driver individually, and you had to restart after every single step.
Wow.
Yeah. So I will share the video that I found that's the best one, because like I would say about 2 hours of it was me like researching, like figuring it out, like getting all the files and stuff. And then the other hour was actually installing it and getting the settings right. So I have a video that I found that I think is the best one to get a Windows 98 computer up and running. It's not perfect. Also, the emulation really does depend on your own computer's processor. Like I have an AMD Ryzen 5 from 2018, because you were there when I got it. You helped me build this computer, and it definitely had some issues. It definitely chugged. Even trying to emulate, because it's emulating that and running on your computer at the same time. So it's like it's kind of getting a little busy, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can share that video if we need to, if anyone's interested. But because I'm sending you the video, it probably won't take you as much time. It'll probably take you like an hour to set up if you follow all their instructions and get all their downloads. Now that I have like that, though, the other Lego games for this series, I'm kind of excited because I should just be able to play them without a problem.
Yeah.
Like Lego Racers, which is next in 1999, Lego Rock Raiders. Those ones will be ones I should just, in theory, now be able to get running. We'll see. We'll hope so.
Yeah, you can also try always do the N64 emulator or like a PlayStation emulator too with your purchased copies, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because I think Rock Raiders was on PlayStation. Rock Raiders on PlayStation and Racers was on PlayStation and N64. I actually have original hardware for Lego Racers in my stack of N64 games over there. So I'll probably just play it on 64, to be honest.
You just do it like back in the day.
Yeah, that'll make it easier. So there are some weird things with emulation, and I'll kind of go into them right now. A lot of audio issues more than anything. And from what I've read and watched, the audio issues with PC emulation come from the processor being like not the right speed, not necessarily fast or slow, but not necessarily being right. Or like, and so I had some audio issues specifically with Lego Chess. It was just like clicking all the time. And I would still hear the sounds, but there was this background clicking that was constant. And so I brought down the CPU that didn't fix the problem. And then it also messed everything else up because I had drivers for a different chipset. So now everything's screwed up. So I went back to it. So that's the issue. If you are going to fiddle with it to get a game to work, you're going to be installing drivers every time you change the CPU in PCM, and you're going to be installing changing the graphics card, changing the sound card. It's just going to be a constant struggle. You will fine tune it. It's just going to take you a lot more time than I don't know if these games are worth, because realistically, you're probably going to play it for about 25 minutes like I did and be like, I got the gist. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if there's a like a list somewhere of like commonly played games, because I got to imagine these are not like uncommon games that people try to play that like will tell you the best settings. Maybe
there might be something like that. To me, I'm surprised in the age of the internet when we have all of these like DOS emulators and even Windows 98 emulators online, they don't have an option to just play these games in browser.
Yeah, I mean, you'd run into the same issues, I think, because it's got to emulate specific hardware, because that's why these games don't work more modern, is because they had to be built for specific like sound cards back in the day. And so if you're not emulating the correct sound card or the correct graphics card or whatever, that's where you run into those issues. And some of them are like better emulated than others. So
Is
it's
this where I
gonna.
do it? Is this where I decompile Lego Loco for everybody?
I
Is
think
this my new project?
you probably have a better chance of like putting together a period accurate PC. People ran into these issues all the time back in those days too. You'd be like, well, you didn't have the right sound card. Sorry, guess that's
Yeah.
it then.
Yep, and that's something that I didn't really anticipate. Well, I anticipated it, but I just kind of forgot how annoying it is. I
Yeah,
think is how
PC
I
gaming in the '90s was
was not easy.
rough.
Yeah, and so I left the virtual machine. It's all set up. It's on here. Like that build is on here and set up. So we'll try like the other games because I believe there's 3. There's Lego Rock Raiders, Lego Racers, and one other one. I think it might be one of the creator games. I'm not sure. In 1999, and we'll talk about those next time. But let's. So I got kind of lost in the sauce here. But as far as these games go, I think that the ambition was there with the 3 of them. Lego Loco probably being the most successful in what it was trying to do, but I'm still happy with the other 2 games. Like I had fun playing them. And also like Lego Loco and Lego Creator are really like even like just like Lego Island, like those 2 games paved the way for like Lego Worlds and Lego Fortnite, I think,
Ooh.
which that we just don't have the technology there at the time. So they were really bold. Like Lego Creator was just super ahead of its time. Like that's a great idea to make something like you could just build, but it just wasn't there technology wise. And Lego Chess is a good game, and I'm sure a lot of kids learn chess, which is exactly the ambition for it. But I think Lego Loco is my favorite. I just love that you can name everything in the town and kind of make it all personal and your own. And I mean, if we wanted to get our virtual machines set up with networking, Tyler, we could send each other email postcards via trains from 1998. Just throwing
Oh
it out there.
boy.
Is that a project worth 5 hours of our time?
Absolutely.
Probably not. Oh, it is? Okay. So yeah, the whole process. I mean, even though I'm stressing, like I'm talking about my stresses and stuff and setting up the PCM and getting it going, I still had fun doing that though. I think that's the important thing is like it was still a fun process. It's something different that I don't normally do for these episodes because usually we play a game and it's very accessible. It's like on Good Old Games or it's on Steam and we can just play it on our PCs. Not a big deal. Covering these older Windows 98 games and Windows 95 games, if we go further back in time, we're going to have to do this. There's really no other way.
Mm-hmm.
Except unless with like a big title like Myst. Myst is big enough that they have versions of it we can play now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can probably get it on Steam, I bet.
You can. I think there's a Steam version of it. But yeah, these older forgotten like PC games. There was one I had as a kid that was like a World War II plane game called like Red Sky, like Aces or something. I don't know. It was a weird game, but it was fun. And I remember as a kid having a joystick and playing it with my brother, and we thought it was like the coolest thing in the world, just like shooting planes and stuff. And they were all so pixelated, but it just looked really neat. And so these kind of older PC games have like a special place in my heart because they wouldn't. Yeah, like you said, sometimes they just wouldn't work, and that was what it was.
Yeah, and you just be like, well, guess my computer sucks.
Yeah,
World War
exactly.
II Combat Flight Simulator, like 90s.
Yeah, like 90s.
Because I had Combat Flight Simulator for
this was specifically World War II.
Specifically air combat.
Yeah,
Chuck Yeager's Air Combat, Warbirds.
List of World War II video games.
Category World War II Flight Simulation. Ace of Aces? That look. Oh, it's in 1986. Aces High. That's 2000.
It was a
Aces of the Pacific.
It was a flight sim and it was a sequel. So I'm looking here. I found flight simulators. Here we go. We're looking. We're gonna find this, everybody. This might not be the. Oh, here it is. Was it Air Warrior 2? It was Air Warrior 2. That was it. I just found the cover. This is it. This is definitely it. Yeah, Air Warrior 2 was the game that I played as a kid. Wow. Why didn't I ever look this up before? But yeah, I could probably get it running on my virtual machine. That's the other cool thing about PCM. You can set up joystick support for it.
Ooh, nice.
So you can play with a joystick if you want to like get the flight sim kind of thing and play those games. Yeah. Air Warrior 2 was the name of the game. So Pretty much, though. I am adding these to my Trello board. I haven't done it yet, but I plan to add all 4 of these Lego games to the Trello board, except for the Pico one I didn't play. So that was the 5th one. We're not adding it. But yeah, I love it. I'm excited to get into the next one because it's Lego Racers is the big one we're going to talk about, which actually did some cool stuff with like the racing kart genre. So I'm excited to talk about that. And then afterward, we may take a little break and talk about potentially another small indie game company that had a building game with creativity in it. Maybe just one of those small indie ones. I don't know. But Tyler, what you been playing?
Oh man, I really have not been playing much. I'm still on a break after those JRPGs and playing Slay the Spire on my phone when I get a chance. Because I think it's just a perfect phone game. I really love it. And then most of my like time that I would have spent gaming, I've been learning Unreal, and it's like I just need building up a base layer of knowledge before I can even make anything happen. So, but it's been fun, and I'm just chipping away at it. I'm not like sitting here 8 hours a day like consuming. It's like maybe an hour a night. I'm just like
That's exciting though.
Videos and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of on just a little gaming break. I did play some Donkey Kong Country 2 last night with my friend who's in town this week. So
how did it go?
We got to the second world. No, we got to the third world where like the forest world. And then it got too late and we were making bad mistakes and we were like, you know what? It's time to go to bed. It's just time to go to bed,
That's something that I would not have made as a child, that decision. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Well,
what about you? What have you been playing?
Oh, so I have been playing. I act all surprised, like you weren't going to ask me the question. Oh, I've been playing Hades a lot, and right before we recorded today, I beat Hades for the first time. I beat the boss. Yes,
one Hades,
one run, but my first time ever beating the boss Hades. The thing that like really opens up the game is, and if you've played it before, the weapon aspects. When you unlock weapon aspects and really like focus on what they do, it really you're just like doing damage. Like I unlocked the aspect of Hera on the bow, which makes it so you can load your cast into your attack. So it like does extra damage. And then I got this Blade Rift cast. So I would shoot and then Blade Rifts would come out of the bullets after they hit. And then I got a thing that made it so the blade rifts were bigger, and then I got the thing at the end that tracked enemies, so it would actually follow Hades and keep doing damage to him. So I chunked him out, and like it was not that bad. I got through both, and I've also gotten better at the fight too. I actually went in the fight though a couple days ago. I had all my death defiances up, so I had 3 lives essentially, and then I had all of my health, and I still lost. And so having this where I didn't have an extra death defiance and I went in with full health though, and I had less, but I had that aspect, made it so I could just beat the boss super easy. So I'm going to keep playing the game. Excited. Cyberpunk 2077 is on sale right now for half price, and I am extremely tempted because I know that game is good, but also my backlog is a mess of video games, and I need to figure that out. So I'm kind of like, because it'll go on sale again. You know what I mean? It's gonna.
Yeah, it feels like every couple weeks it's half off. I'm waiting for that like $10 or $15 sale.
That's a good one. That's a good way to do it. But yeah, so I'm enjoying myself though, but it's been really fun. So anyway, that's our episode for the day. I don't know what we're doing next week. We're doing more Persona. Maybe we got a mailbag in us. We have some.
Maybe
we'll see. We have quite a few emails backing up, but we'll let you know in the Discord if that's the case. Send us an email though at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can go to codexpodcast.net. That has all of our websites on there, all of our websites, all of our links on there on our website. Also, you can join the Discord through there. And if you do join the Discord and you're like, hey, Mike, I joined the Discord and I don't see any channels, make sure you click the little green checkbox in the rules, because that unlocks everything so you can see all the stuff. And with that, Tyler, is there anything you want to say to the listener before we go?
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.